And hello, everyone. Welcome to Power Scanning. It is September 27. My name is Daniel. I will be your moderator today. And once again, today we will be on the lookout for the most interesting swing trading setups for the week and the weeks ahead. I'm greeting you today from our beautiful office here in Montreal. And before we get into it, who do we have in the room today and where are you calling in from? Please share your location in the Q&A box. So who do we have today in the room? Let me see. All right. Pulling my Q&A. Steffen from Hamburg. Hey, Steffen, wie geht's? Abdul from Austin, Texas. Hey, Abdul, how are you? Ralph from Jockgrim, near Karlsruhe, yeah, near the French-German border in Germany. Aubrey from sunny Cyprus. Hey, Aubrey, how are you? Keith from England, from Scotland. I'm sorry, Scotland, near the English borders. Andrea from Hamburg. Moin, moin, Andrea. How are you? Chris from Tampa, Florida. Hey, Chris. Good to have you in the webinar. Lenny from New York City. Hey, Lenny. How are you? Jim from Springfield, Illinois. Hey, Jim, good to have you. Stephen from Lincoln in the UK, in Great Britain. Vicky from Alabama, USA. Perfect. Wow. Wow. Once again, a truly international crowd. And we also have Keith. Oh, Keith's saying definitely not England. Yes, yes, I know. And Arthur from Glückstadt in Germany, I believe. Perfect. Well, thank you so, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your location. Let's get started with the webinar. So a quick reminder, of course, that today we will be on the lookout for what we call swing trades. So a swing trade takes approximately 2 to 20 weeks. So it's not going to be a day trade, which you would open and close within the same day. It's not going to be a long-term investment, even though, we might be discussing some symbols which we are more suited for long-term investments for other reasons like dividends and so forth. But primarily today, we will be looking for swing trading setups, technical setups on your price chart, which are known to work well for swing trading timeframes. And a swing trade typically takes between 2 and 20 weeks. And we also call this scanning session today sometimes the 13 minutes strategy. And the idea is that what we're going to be finding today, what everybody can do, will not take more than 30 minutes. Of course, this webinar is scheduled for to take longer than 30 minutes, but that's because I'm talking a lot. I'm going to try to answer questions. I'm going to try to explain all the steps step by step. But once you get the hang of it, you will be able to find interesting setups in just a few minutes. And to me, it has become a habit before the trading day opens, typically in the morning around 8:30 Eastern time. I go through these steps myself to see what symbol might be of interest for my own trading portfolio. All right. A few words about who we are in case you are joining us for the very first time today. My name is Daniel, as mentioned before. I'm one of the founders of tradingindicators.com, and together with Homer here in the middle, we have created Trading Indicators about 10 years ago. And what a journey, what a ride it has been since then. So we've built a lot of trading indicators, as our name suggests. We've built thousands of them for clients all over the world, but we've also built trading scanners, fully automated strategies, strategy builders, trading tools, and so forth. And many of these tools, Niklas here on the right-hand side has been instrumental. He's become our lead developer, and he's joined us about 5 years in our journey of trading indicators. And Niklas is also in the room today, manning the Q&A box. So if you guys have any questions and symbol requests and so forth, please put them into the Q&A box, and Niklas will bring those to my attention as we proceed through this presentation. All right. I also want to remind you that trading does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance or really anything based on historical data, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right. Now, before we start the scanning process, a couple of housekeeping items. First off, we have, when was it, about 2 weeks ago, we recorded the Liquidity View Bootcamp. It's almost 3 hours long. It's very detailed, and it was needed because we have added so many new features to our trading scanner, which is called Liquidity View, that we had to re-record the bootcamp to cover all these new features. And you can check it out yourself. It's a long one, but you can consume it in small pieces if you like at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. That brings you to a YouTube video, which of course you can download. You can have AI analyze it if you want. You can have it transcribed and so forth. So check it out at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. And Niklas, please put this link into the chat box as well. Moving on, our Discord channel. So we do have a Discord channel available at tradingindicators.com/Discord. We're facing a small technical hiccup last week where users could not see any of the channels. This has been solved now. So now if you log into our Discord channel and if you accept this invitation here at tradingindicators.com/Discord, you should now be able to see all our channels. And we will, every once in a while post new trade setups in there. We're gonna be more active once the market opens during the week. And if you have questions, you can post them there as well. And the idea is to have a community which interacts with each other, helps each other, points out interesting setups. So this is the idea of creating this Discord channel. Now, two more things. We do have an ebook which you can download for free at tradingindicators.com/power-of-3. And Niklas, please put this link as well into the chat box. And in this ebook, we are detailing the three main setups that we typically scan through in these sessions: our bounce setup, our zone break setup, and our zone break retrace setup. So if you want to learn more about these setups, how they work, why we like it, what's the rationale behind these setups, check out this ebook. It's not very long. I think it's like maybe 25 pages. It's a good read, I believe, a quick read. And yeah, check it out if you are interested. It's completely free. And lastly, if you have any feedback for us regarding our dashboard, regarding our product, our offering, don't be shy. Our feedback is what drives the further development of our products, such as the scanner Liquidity View. So please don't hold back. Put these into the Q&A box and we'll try to accommodate all these suggestions into future versions of our tools. All right. Without further ado now, let's start with the market review. It's been interesting. It's been quite interesting. And I don't want to spoil anything. Also, the setups, the concrete setups that we will be finding today, they are quite nice. I'm quite excited about this. I already have some ideas for the trade of the week just by going through some of the setups before this webinar. So please stay tuned for this. Okay, starting with the market review, I'm going to go to the, where is it? To our dashboard. There we go. That's our Liquidity View dashboard. And we're going to start with the SPY, which is already loaded here on our price chart, as we typically do. Now, what do we see today? Well, first of all, it's pretty much business as usual. Nothing super exciting happening, except for on Thursday, we saw this little red patch here. Do you see this one here? A little red patch in trend radar, meaning for the first time in a couple of weeks, we had a small little pullback in the SPY. And this could have been an interesting long entry opportunity into the SPY, anticipating that this bullish move, this very consistent bullish move, is going to continue into the future. Having this said, however, it is still, even after this pullback or even during this pullback, it is still super, super expensive. We are still very far away from our average. As you can see it here, we are far away from the broken resistance level down here near the all-time highs. So the air is very thin up there. We are on the ozone layer, as you may say, and just be careful that because prices are so extended, a pullback is always a possibility. And if this happens, depending on what the level of the pullback will be, it may be a significant one. It may go down all the way perhaps to this first MA rush line, or perhaps even to this broken zone here, these broken resistance level at around 613. So it's always a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen next week, but since we are so extended, these pullbacks will eventually happen. History has shown this to us. Eventually, such a pullback is going to take place. All right, so just be aware of this. Now, moving on, and actually, what did I want to say? I had something in my mind to say. Perhaps that's going to come back to me next. Okay, let's go on to the QQQs. So a very similar picture on the Qs. There we go. The NASDAQ 100 ETF. And also here we can see, first of all, it's kind of a similar setup to what we see in the SPY. Prices are extended. We broke above this resistance level here, which was formed at a much higher price level than on the SPY, because the Qs, for some reason, they were lagging a bit the SPY for quite some time. So it took them quite some time to make a new all-time high. That was the previous high on August 13, but then it took almost a month until we saw another all-time highs in the Qs. And this was because they were lagging a bit. And this previous high now has established a minor resistance level here around the 583 price level. And I was really hoping on Thursday, this pullback, it's just a level 1 pullback in the Qs here, this pullback would go a little bit deeper, a bit closer to this former resistance level, which was broken on September 12th. And then this could have been a very interesting zone break retrace setup. And if you joined us in the past before, you know that this setup is indeed one of my favorite setups to scan for, because it's quite rare. And if this happens, it could be a very interesting opportunity for a long entry, because oftentimes these are the launch pads for this initial breakout move to really take off to higher price levels. And now I remember what I said, what I wanted to say when we talked about the SPY. Interestingly, and many people have pointed this out, that September, or the second half of September specifically, is a seasonally a weak time of the year. However, it doesn't have to be every year. So statistically, if you look at all the years that the SPY has traded, and you look at the September performance and the second half of September, you would see, okay, seasonally, this is a weaker period. But of course, there are no guarantees that this will happen this year as well. And for those of you who have been betting on a bit of a deeper correction, just like me, for example, you have been disappointed because prices just pushed higher and higher. And what we saw in the last couple of days and weeks, it was just business as usual. Prices are just pushing higher relentlessly. And also here in the QQQs, look how extended we are, how far we are from our first MA rush line, which is miles away. And ideally, I want to wait for something like this. The prices are coming closer to this MA rush line, where we have at least a level 3 pullback as of our trend radar indicator. This is where I get interested. But up here at these very high price levels, to me, it's expensive. And if anything, I would add just a small amount to my existing QQQ position. All right. Now, moving on, the Russell. Russell was a big topic last week. Why? You may remember, Russell is at an historical level, a key resistance level. Let me just zoom out a little bit here. You can see how significant this level are. So we came up all the way. That was not the week that just finished, the week before. We came up all the way to the 245 price level, around this level here. This level has been tested previously in November last year. You can see it here. Also, prices came up all the way to this price level. And then before this, if I scroll all the way back, in 2021, also November, we also came up to this price level. And every time since this happened, we saw a very deep and major correction of this price level. Look at the huge bounces that we've seen from these levels. Here, huge bounce. Here, huge bounce down. And we discussed it last week in our scanning session. Perhaps, of course, there's no guarantees in trading, but perhaps it is not the worst idea to speculate on a bounce this time as well from this price level. It would be a very speculative trade because we are bullish. The Russell has been outperforming the indices as of late, finally approaching all-time highs, which have been first established in 2021. So these are old highs, finally approaching them. We came all the way up to this level. And while we saw a bit of a bounce, a level 2 pullback on our trend radar indicator, but of course nothing to the degree that we may see when a significant bounce happen. But the verdict is not fully out yet, and I would still personally be careful getting the Russell long right now, because there's still a chance of bouncing off this key resistance level, and perhaps this time this bounce is going to go deeper than just a level 2 in trend radar. The way I would play this, if anything, I would be aware, hey, I'm going against the trend in the Russell. I'm going against the overall sentiment of the symbol, which is bullish now. This would be a short trade. The only way I believe I would trade this would be with options, which are a very risk-limited way of getting some exposure to a potential bounce. If it fails, all right, I'll lose the options premium. I would buy puts in this case if they're affordable. Uh, and if it works out, well, I'm going to take this little bounce with me, but I would not short the Russell directly by short selling some shares of the Russell ETF. All right. So let's move on. So what's next? Gold. All right, the GLD, the gold ETF. All right. So gold, we broke above a key resistance level, which has held for a couple of months. You can see this green line here, this little green line, that was key resistance. It has held since April this year. So for a long time, we finally broke above it in the beginning of September. Huge move up, small little retracements along the way, but very extended in the gold price. And also here, similar to the SPY and the QQQ, I would be careful because we are so extended. Prices are so expensive. A pullback is always a possibility. And even if it's just a level 3 pullback or a level 4 pullback, ideally, this could have been a significant move to the downside. And you don't want to be caught up here in this all-time high level when this pullback happens. So be careful for this. I personally will wait patiently for sort of at least a level 3 or a level 4 pullback before I consider entering into a long position in GLD. All right, moving on. USO, the United States Oil Fund. What's going on here? So oil has pushed higher. We can see this in a second once this chart opens. And we can see, okay, we are still caught in the middle, in between this intermediate support level here around 71 and this intermediate resistance level here at 81. Nothing to get excited about. I still personally will wait patiently until prices go all the way up either to 83, which is a key resistance level. And if I zoom out here, you can see how key this level is. In the past, this goes back several years now, we have bounced off sharply every single time we approach this level. So I'm going to be waiting until prices come up there, and then potentially we'll look into shorting the USO with put options or some other ways to do it to get some exposure of a potential bounce trade off this level. But right now here in the no man's land, prices do look a bit more bullish. We bounced off this intermediate support level. I will be waiting until we go all the way up here before I consider doing anything with oil, because to me, even here, it's too much of a coin toss of what may happen next. It's too rangy, too bouncy here. I'm going to be waiting until prices go all the way to the extreme, either up here at 83 or down here at the 60 area. All right. Now, moving on. What else do we have? Bitcoin. Oh boy. Bitcoin is getting interesting too. And I think we are not out of the woods yet. I said it last week. We better hold this key level here, this cluster of support and form of resistance around the $108,000 level. Well, we came out of it. We bounced to this level. We came all the way up to 117,000, but now dropped off again, right back to this key support level. We did have a really good liquidity capture at the last candle. You can see here this little area. And in fact, let me just enable this so we can see it a little bit better on the chart. Okay. So we can see it here. We did have, about 2 days ago, a liquidity capture event at this level. But it kind of feels like we're grinding a little lower here in Bitcoin. And if this level is not holding around this key level, I think the next stop will be around 98,000. We're not there yet, but this level better hold if you want to see an approach to new all-time highs anytime soon in Bitcoin. All right. Okay, so this was the market review. And Nicholas, do we have any questions so far?
Oh, sorry, Daniel. I thought my microphone was not connected. Okay, so
Hi.
from Lenny, yeah, hi, how are you? So we have a
Good.
couple questions coming in. Lenny says, you do your scanning in the morning because there's movement that can't be seen at the close. Does every day start anew? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I just scan after the last day's data comes in. And the reason why for me it's in the morning is because it just fits my schedule better. Because once the dashboard updates around 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, I typically I'm not in front of my computer anymore. I do some other things. And I keep this for the morning because, in the morning is, the only time when I can really act on it anyways, when the market opens. So it just fits my schedule better. But you can scan whenever you like to scan as soon as the new market data is in. And if you want to check, that's a good question, Lenny, if the new data is in, enable the date column here in your column configurator and make sure it's the last market close data. The date should be, in this case, September 26th, which is Friday at Friday's data. So when you see the date here, it means, yes, the data has been updated.
Perfect. Okay. And then Lenny's next question, did the ebook get, no, Lenny, the ebook is not being revised periodically because the setups don't change. The bootcamp video was revised because we have new features. Keith Whalen says, Daniel, where do I find the link for the recording of Johnny Seville's recent Smart Surge webinar?
It's actually quite easy, Nicholas. If you want to type this in, it's tradingindicatorsbook.com/Seville, Seville. Maybe test it first quickly in your browser.
Seville. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And the next question we have here.
And by the way, just Keith, real quick, because if not, I will double check this. This recording should have been sent out to everybody who registered for the webinar. If this was not sent out, maybe just leave me a quick note, Keith, and I will check why the recording was not sent out. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And Kate, the next question. Lenny, there's a different strategy for playing overbought but trending tickers, perhaps just a shorter time frame. Or are there rules other than just watching? What do you think? So Lenny's basically asking, read the SPY with regards to the SPY, because it's overbought, but it's trending,
Yeah.
I guess. Do you take a different approach to it? You start trading it shorter term rather than long term because it's over.
We do
overbought
trade
state.
the futures, the S&P 500 futures, the Nasdaq futures from a day trading point of view all the time. We've had multiple day trading workshops on that purpose, but that's from a different portfolio. So if it's really my swing trading portfolio, my longer term portfolio, I just stay with the time frame and I patiently wait until a setup comes up. And the idea is that not only the SPY and the QQ are the only symbols that you should be considered trading. There are so many others out there, individual stocks, ETFs, and so forth, that you will find something every single trading day. You don't have to change timeframes for this.
Thanks. Okay. And then Steven says, okay, interesting idea or statement. Based on Gann decennial cycles, the fifth year this year, 2025, September has a high probability of positive gains, 66%. I guess that's what happened because September's coming to an end.
And Steven, send me the link to this. That's interesting. Maybe I bring this up in our next Lunch and Learn session on Monday this time, by the way.
Perfect. And then Lenny says, Daniel, do you believe in the rule of three?
I'm not sure what you mean by the rule of three. Oh, I mean like 3 times we approach a resistance level until we break it?
On IWM specifically, do you think this time it'll break the highs?
I don't know if the number 3 is the key number there, but I can tell you, Lenny, that the more often we approach a level and don't break it, in my view, it makes it a bit weaker. Because the analogy I always give there is, you have a hammer in your hand and you're hammering down a frozen pond. Eventually, it's going to weaken and break. So that's probably the same here. Whether it's going to be 3, I don't have this number particularly in my head, but I do believe eventually, of course, it will be broken.
Perfect. And then the last one, and Devendra, we'll get to the symbol request later. The last question here is Don. He says, how can I adjust the size of fonts and stuff on the dashboard? So I guess you could just zoom in, right, Daniel?
Yeah, you could zoom in, and there's no setting to adjust these font sizes here, but there's a setting here in the browser. I click on the 3 dots here. If it's Chrome, I'll go down, there's zoom here, and you can make it a bit bigger or smaller. Yeah.
Okay, that's all, Daniel.
Great. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. So moving on, let's have a quick review of what we found last week. So of course, every week we do create a watch list. Here's some of the trades we found last week. So let's go through them. And of course, one trade we pointed out, it's selected right now by accident here or coincidentally, is the Russell. The idea last week was, okay, potentially a short of the Russell from this key resistance level here, 244, is not the worst idea, but only with options. And of course, we did get a bit of a bounce, which potentially made these options profitable. Not sure if anybody took that idea. If you did, perhaps put a little 1 into the Q&A box to let us know that you did it. the shorting of the Russell, but as I mentioned, only with options. At least in my book, this would have been a possibility. So this worked out to some degree, but there's some other symbols which worked out really beautifully. Rollins Inc. We had a beautiful long bounce setup, and if you just look at the scanner here, this long bounce setup became a short bounce. Why? Well, let's check it out. Look what happened here. I guess that probably was the trade for us of the week. And I contemplated this actually to put this out in our newsletter. As trade of the week, I decided against it in the end. But look at this beautiful bounce right off this support level. This is a textbook long bounce setup for a stock, which is bullish. Bullish for a long time. It came down after all-time highs, down to this key support level. And then the idea was, okay, we're going to bounce off this level towards the middle in between support and resistance, or ideally in this case here, just below this resistance level. So if you took this trade, congratulations. And now, of course, it would be time to book some profit on this one. We are right at resistance here. All right, moving on. What else do we have? AER, AirCap Holdings. Yeah, zone break retrace in this case. We did get the fill, but like a couple of ticks here. Break above resistance, the market went up, then we came down to our entry zone. You can see it here. We just get into the entry zone, and then it jumped up again. Also, this one is, yeah, working out quite nicely. AutoNation, that one went down a little bit. It went below our broken resistance level, quite a bit lower here, but it recovered. So even if you're in this one, we did recover off this trade, and now we're once again in this former resistance level, looking potentially for another push higher. EPOL, iShares MSCI Poland ETF. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, we did discuss it. Yeah, and also here we did get a bit of a bounce off this, but I guess this is still in progress, but we did bounce off this support level here as well. Now in the middle, in between support and resistance. I'm just looking, is this the right? Watch this. Yeah, INBX, the next one. Inhibrx Bioscience. Yeah. Another beautiful setup that worked out nicely off last week, a zone break retrace setup in this case. So you can see it. Most of the setups we found last week worked out beautifully. And of course, the idea for this week's scanning session is to find yet again yeah, some of these setups, which are very promising. And I tell you, I already have in my head at least the trade of the week, because I did this webinar, I should say, about 2 hours ago with our German clients in German. And we did find an interesting setup there. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this is potentially a trade of the week. So please stay tuned for this. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we are going to find new interesting swing trading setups. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to focus on one particular setup at a time. Based on what we see and find, we're going to create a watch list, which I will be sharing with you. And then at the end of our webinar today, of our presentation, we're going to go through these stocks in our watch list to qualify or further, think about these setups and how we would trade them. If that sounds good, let's get into it. All right. Okay, so what are these setups we typically look for? Well, one setup I like, and of course everybody has different trading styles, but one setup I personally like is if we have a stock which is in an established trend. And since stocks typically, or the majority of them, will go up more than they go down, I typically focus, not exclusively, I've traded short before, particularly with options, but I typically focus on stocks which are trending upwards for quite some time. Long-term uptrend is something I'd like to see. That's criteria number one. But of course, as a trend trader, you don't want to enter when prices are extended. That's why I keep warning everyone, SPY is extended, gold is extended, QQQs are extended. You want to wait for some sort of a pullback. The price takes a breather, pulls back a little bit from extended mode down to an average price. And we can scan for those with our trend radar indicator. Look at these little red patches here, which go sometimes a bit more shallow, but sometimes a bit more deep. And these patches, we can scan for them. We can scan for these different pullbacks. The one I like to scan for is a level 3 pullback as a trend radar. Sorry, a level 4, I misspoke. A level 4 pullback. We go 4 rows down. These are the moments where I want to enter into a trend. Why? Because we're going to get in cheaper, and more importantly, we have less risk on the table because our stop loss typically will be closer by. And then if you really want to push it to the next level, you want to match this pullback with a key support level, meaning this pullback has brought us to a key support level as per our liquidity IQ indicator. So if all these things come together, that to me is an interesting setup, which I personally always do consider for a long setup, for a bullish setup, either with options or an outright trade, or perhaps selling some puts or whatever it might be. Okay, so how can we find these setups? Let's go to the scanner. Oops, 1 second. There we go. Let's go back to the scanner. You can see right now we are scanning through 5,694 stocks. And let's just enter these criteria, which we just discussed, into the scanner. So what were these? First one was long-term uptrend. And trend direction is measured by our MA rush indicator. You see this column here? MA rush. This stands for trend direction. If the arrow in here is facing downwards, it means that stock is bearish. If it's facing upwards, it means that stock is bullish. So what I'm going to do now is, since I want to focus on the bullish stocks, I will simply filter by bullish stocks. And once I do this, it updates immediately. I can see every single symbol in my list now is green and points upwards. These are all bullish stocks. 2,900 out of 5,600 stocks are currently bullish. Moving on. Criteria number 2 was we want to see a level 4 pullback, something like this here. The A2 Milk Company, just randomly picked this one, a stock which is bullish to begin with. You can see it here, and we pulled back a little bit. Level 4 on trend radar, 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. That's what I want to see. These are great moments in time where you want to enter into the wrong direction. Okay, so how can we filter for this? We're going to go to our pullback column and select level 4 bullish will pullback. Now we're down to 317 stocks. You see how fast this goes? All right. Now, moving on. So that was level number 3, or step number 3. And step number 2. Step number 3 is we want to match this pullback with a key support level. Not like this case here, like A2M, A2 Milk. It pulled back, but prices are nowhere near the support level down here. I want to match this pullback with a support level. How do I do this? I'm going to use our Liquidity IQ setup column, this one here, and filter for long bounce. And long bounces are set up where we are bouncing to the long direction. This can only happen when prices are near support level. So long bounce, we're down to 17 stocks. And there's one more thing I like to do. I like to sort by trend duration. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on MA Rush on this column here and sort from highest to lowest. And the first stock that comes up, and if you live in Canada, not sure if somebody from Canada is in the room today. If you do, please say hello. Dollarama Inc. is the first stock that comes up. It's a Canadian stock. It's if you don't know what Dollarama is, it's a thrift store. It's very popular. It's a chain, and yeah, it's a dollar store basically where items are relatively inexpensive. And for some reason, Dollarama is doing really, really well. Look at this trend of Dollarama, a stock which is traded on the TSX, I believe, a long-term uptrend. It's a beautiful uptrend. If I go back here on MA Raj, I have to go back for a long, long time to actually find the beginning of this trend. Yeah, June 2020. Wow, huge uptrend. But recently, this stock posted all-time highs, but now retraced down to this key support level. And I believe this setup could be a very interesting long entry setup. The only thing which may prevent me from posting this one as our trade of the week on Monday is that it's a Canadian stock, first of all, so many of you may not know it. So it's a bit of an unknown stock. And secondly, there's this little gap here to be tested and filled. And if we do fill this gap, price will retrace a bit deeper down before starting or restarting this uptrend. But these are my only two preoccupations. But nonetheless, this is a great setup, and we're going to add it to our list right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new watch list. Go all the way down here, create a new watch list. I'm going to call it Weekly Swing Trades, colon 2025-09-27. And we're going to add Dollarama Inc. to this list. All right. Perfect. Edit. So interesting one. And yeah, we'll see what goes with this particular setup when we meet next time. Okay, let's go down. Hub 24 Limited is the next one on our list. Let's check this one out. All right. Also here we do have a long-term uptrending stock currently in a level 4 pullback, and also here currently coinciding with a key support level. Yeah, interesting one here. I think similar concern as for Dollarama. It's just this little gap here, which I'm gonna hide my indicator real quick. Do you see this gap here? This one here? It hasn't been filled yet. So if I'm gonna go here to my little gap, there we go. It hasn't been filled yet. If we were to fill this gap, if prices would break below this key support level and retrace a bit further down. And if you fill this gap, I think we're gonna go down to this former resistance level at 92. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about this one here. But if you want to scale into this position, I think now could be a good time. Just be aware that, if we were to fill this gap, price will come down most likely to this former resistance level at 92. Nonetheless, I'm going to add this one to our list. Let me just make a little annotation here. So this is a key. Well, actually, this is. I want to put my stop loss somewhere here. That's going to be my stops, or maybe even a bit lower, because you want to give this trade a bit more room. Why? Because this gap may be tested and prices may pull back a bit further than just this support level here. All right, next one, the Markle Group Inc. A very expensive stock at $1,014. I look at this one. Yeah, which is also trending upwards nicely. We hit this key support level, and Lenny, you mentioned the rule of three, where we test and retest the key support level multiple times. It may fail. This could be an example of this. We tested this level here and here and here and here again. Maybe it's not meant to hold, and we're going to retrace a bit further down. But nonetheless, an interesting setup, especially, I don't think this one is optionable, especially since volatility seems to be quite low now. Prices are not moving much. Maybe call options will be somewhat inexpensive, of course. But of course, the stock price here is super high, so the options will be, expensive, but maybe relatively cheap in the sense that, hey, they were more expensive in the past for this particular symbol. But of course, compared to other stocks, the options will be expensive here. So, all right, so this is this one. I'm going to add this one as well to our list. And one more, the Coca-Cola HBCAG. All right. This one is too gappy for me. I'm going to skip it. Look at these bars here. They don't look very clean. Let's skip this one. And let's go to this German stock here, Heidelberg Materials. Also an interesting stock, a long-term uptrending stock. Currently a level 4 pullback down to this key support level. And also here, the idea is, yes, we may be bouncing off this level towards higher price levels. The only thing here with this one is that the resistance level on top, which has been tested a few times in the past, is not too far away. So this trade only has about 15 points to go, maybe 7%. Not the greatest price jump we can look for. Nonetheless, perhaps something to consider. So I'm going to add this one as well to our list. Okay, now we've done this. Now I want to show you a little variation of this setup, because sometimes it is too strict to also enforce a level 4 pullback as per trend radar. I like to do it because that to me gives me a really nice 3 criteria setup, but sometimes you're going to miss out on something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take away this particular criteria, the level 4 one, just to see what else is out there, which has a nice pullback now down to a support level. So we're going to do this, go down here, and what do I see here? So we have this German symbol here, Deutsche Telekom. I'm going to skip this one because we already had one foreign symbol, quite a few today. Let's focus on the bigger ones. Ameriprise Financial, AMP. Let's check this one out. Not my favorite. You know why? Here, yes, we are in an uptrend. If you scroll back, you can see it. We are in an uptrend. It's a deeper correction, so level 5 or something on trend radar here. But we're coming now from below this support level into this area. I don't like this one too much because this level broke in the past before. It didn't held up. To me, it's a sign of weakness of this particular level. Not my favorite setup. Also, this resistance level here is just on top, so this trade would not have much room. So we're going to skip this one. Let's go down to Waste Connections. Let's check this one out. WCN. Oh, yeah. Also here. In fact, we had this a few times, this setup. Long-term bullish stock for more than 1,000 trading days. Bullish. We tried to trade it a few times at these key support level. Every time we were a bit disappointed here. And I'm going to be careful with this one as well. Even though we are at this key support level, the level which was established back in January this year, and we may as well bounce off from it. But to me, it's kind of catching a falling knife. There's this we've been going down here for quite some time on this symbol. A bit too risky. I want to see some signs first that this level is actually holding. We're not going any further down. So I'm going to skip this one. Reliance, another one. Yeah, Reliance. Big move off the all-time highs. And we had this last week as well. Big move. Then we bounced off the support level, came up a bit, now down to the support level. I have my doubt that this level will hold. It might. You never know. But this looks very bouncy to me, and maybe we're even going to go down further to this 250 level here. I don't want to be caught here at this level, so I'm going to skip this one as well for next week. I think we have nicer setups that will come up. And lastly, and actually, I want to go all the way to Kinsale here. Let me just go to AGM first, and then we're going to go to the other ones. Yeah, this one is of interest. Look at this. And I wonder, when did we have discussed the symbol, the Federal Agricultural Mortgage Corporation, AGM? It's been range bound, no question about this. So we were in an uptrend, clear uptrend, and we still are. We went bullish in December 2020. After the all-time highs here last year, we've been completely rangy, bouncing off these blue lines here. And once again now, we'll come down to this key lower end of this range, and maybe actually down here would be the lower end at 160. But I do think this could be an interesting one, hoping for a long bounce in this, one may say, a sideways market. We're still bullish. It's just a sideways consolidation right now, which has been going on for quite some time. And, having a symbol like this shows you also why sometimes I like to not enforce a level 4 pullback on Trend Radar. Because these sideways consolidations, you would never find with those, because Trend Radar will always go all red or all green when we're at the extremes of this range. But sometimes these extremes, they are very interesting for trading. So we're going to add this one to the list because I think this could be an interesting idea for a long bounce off this level. Maybe scale in and put your stop loss just below this resistance support level down here for a bounce towards the middle in between these two ranges. So I'm going to add this one here as well to our list. Oh, one thing I forgot, by the way, I forgot to share this watch list with you. So I'm going to do this right now. Click the share button. So it will show up in your accounts as well. I'm going to unshare the oldest watch list in our list. Perfect. All right. And two more post holdings. Post holdings is coming from below. I'm going to skip this one. We're coming from below this support level. I don't like these ones too much. I like to come from the top down to these ones. And then we have Kinsale Capital Group. The next one, KNSL. And that's actually the one I really wanted to point out to you, because also this one here is range bound. Look, it's bullish long term. I have to go back quite a while. But lately, it's in this contracting range here. It's a sideways range between the 403 level and the extreme here, the upper extreme at 517. So a couple of things come to mind here. First off, this sideways range is a wide one. There's a lot of room to go to the upside. And even if you go to just to the middle, this is a big, big move that we can capitalize on. Secondly, we are now at this key support level. We even had a liquidity capture event on Thursday at this level. And to me, this could be an interesting, speculative long trade. Maybe you have call options. We can discuss this perhaps a bit more in our lunch and learn sessions on this time on Monday again. Speculating on a bounce off this level towards higher price levels. So definitely an interesting one. I'm going to add this one as well to our list. Alrighty. Perfect. Nicholas, do we have questions at this point?
Take a look here, Daniel. We got a couple. Okay, did you already answer this one, Daniel, about Trend Radar? I'm not sure. on the USO
I don't
chart.
think so. What's the
Pullbacks from the
question?
previous high. It's not some sort of average based on. No, Lenny, it's based on where price is compared to 5 different period moving averages. That's what determines if it's green or red. We have that. I think it's explained in the boot camp, or
Yeah.
I think that's correct, Daniel. And from Greg Bruns, Daniel, I assume you reset my dashboard. That did fix sending the alerts. However, Greg thinks you reset it with the wrong dashboard, as it should be the Acorn one.
Yeah, that's actually for all the Acorn clients, there will be a change made tomorrow, where all your subscriptions will be moved to what we call the platinum tier. You're already there technically, but this once we make this change, you will also be able to see the watch list by Johnny Savile.
Perfect. Okay. And the next question, Moshe, please send us this in an email to info@tradingindicators.com, because that's a question for outside of the webinar. And Lenny, do you know what? No, Lenny, we don't know these statistics, but we do plan on looking into that shortly, the statistics for gap fills. Frank wants to know, Daniel, when you're looking for pullbacks, would you want to look at stock 1-day ladder to confirm direction?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, depending how aggressive or how conservative I want to get into this trade. So, for example, here it's a pullback to this support level. What I could do now is I could wait until Monday or Tuesday or mid next week to see, okay, are there signs that we're actually going to bounce off this level to higher price levels? Of course, then if the bounce is in progress, I'm going to miss out on this great price down here. It's going to be more expensive. So it's always a trade-off. Yes, I want to wait for confirmation, but I'm have to pay more then for this stock, or I jump in right away, but I may be jumping in prematurely. It's a trade-off.
Daniel, Lenny wants to know, can you tweak MA Rush to be more sensitive?
You can do it on the TradingView platform, Lanny. Send us a mail for this. In this dashboard, you cannot. Yeah. If you're on
Perfect.
TradingView, the actual TradingView platform, there are some ways to configure MA to work off lower time frames, and that way it will be more sensitive for price swings.
Okay, last 2 questions, Daniel. What happens if you see the watch list but nothing comes up when you load it?
Maybe you have a filter on, David. Is that possible? Make sure you don't have this yellow button here. So it's actually, we covered this in the bootcamp quite a bit. So clear up this filter, and then it should say something like the first 20 symbols of 5,694. If you see something like this, just put a filter on right now. 20 symbols of 1,968 from 5,694 means some sort of filter is enabled. So you always want to clear this filter.
Perfect. And how do you become an Acorn member, Daniel?
Yeah, Neil sent me a mail for this. This is not something, it's more of a lengthy answer for this. And I would be happy to introduce you to the Acorn people.
And same with Stefan. Please send us an email. Again, it's about Acorn indicators in the dashboard.
Perfect. Alrighty. Okay, great. Let's move on. Okay, so the next setup I really want to discuss today is I'm going to skip the zone break setup today because also because of time is running out a little bit, but I want to move on to what we call the zone break retrace setup, which basically happens when price breaks a Q resistance level. You can see it here. We broke, in this particular example, above this green line, which is a resistance level. Resistance didn't hold up. We broke above it. Price initially goes up, but then it retraces down back to this broken level. And oftentimes this can be a launch pad for the real breakout move to commence. How good this can work. I have to go back one more time, to our watch list from last week. Give me 1 second. I don't want to gloat, but which one did we have? Got which one it was. Oh, here. INBX, for example. Yeah. Zone break. Was it this one? Hang on 1 second. Yeah, this one here. Look at this. Zone break. Here, the initial zone break. Price initially goes up, comes down to the broken level, and then this move really continues. That's the poster chart of zone break retrace setups. Now, how can we scan for those? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our end of day scanner. All right. And we're going to enter just one criteria into this scanner. It's very simple to scan for. In our Liquidity IQ setup column, we will go down to long break retrace, this filter here. We click on it, only 33 symbols qualify. And then what I like to do is I just like to go through them one by one. And the first one that comes up is Casey's General Stores Inc. is stock, which we're gonna fix this, which currently doesn't even have an Emmy Rush reading. Meaning, since we are following the stock, since let me just see how long we can go back for this particular one. Just 1 second. Since we, oh boy, I can't see what kind of monster of a stock this is. This is going up parabolically. Wow, Jesus. Oh, here. Okay. We need to fix this. Huh? I'll fix this here. Since 2018, and our scanner actually doesn't even go back that far. This stock only has been going up. We're going to fix this so we have a read for this as well. This stock has just one trend direction, which is bullish. It's a monster of a stock. It made all-time highs recently. You can see it here. We broke above this resistance level, then posted all-time highs here around 570, and now the pullback down towards this former resistance level. So I see this as an interesting long opportunity, but I want to wait a little bit. I want prices to come down a bit further towards my entry zone here to enter into this long trade. So we're at 560.47 now, perhaps go down to 534, maybe 10 more points down, and this could be then an interesting long opportunity at this monster of a stock which has been trending upwards for a long, long time. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list as well. And perhaps one more, the Madison Square Garden Entertainment Group. Oh, it's where the Knicks play, huh? This New York concert, New York room. Let me just quickly see what's going on here. You can see it here also, long break retrace setup. Just see what's the history of this one here. This one also didn't have an Emmy Rush reading. Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from this one. You know why? Because it's too wavy. This is actually, it only started here in 2023. It's a bit not as clean as an uptrend. And I think the chances here that we're gonna just have another swing down, like you can see it here, these swings are very swingy stock, is quite high. And if this materializes, then this pullback will go down a bit further than just this level. So I'm gonna skip this one. But I hope you can see how easy it was to find these kind of setups. And then of course you do a bit of manual analysis to see if this one really qualifies for that. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my watch list and let's go through these symbols now step by step. So we have 7 symbols in here, which I think is it's a good baseline. And I'm going to start with Dollarama. I really like it. I think this is a very interesting stock. The only thing, as I mentioned before, is this little gap here. I'm going to draw it in here. If this gap is to get filled, then prices would need to come down all the way down to 177. But I think now it can be a good opportunity to scale at least into a long position here in Dollarama. So I'm gonna, add this one to our trade notes. I'm gonna on notes here, and we'll add it with this little button here. I hope this works. I did see a bit of a bug here. No, it works perfectly. Okay, great. So Dollarama has been added here. Great. Moving on, Casey General Stores. That was the long break retrace that we just saw. Yeah, it's a monster of a stock. There's a bit of a gap here. You can see it here. There is this gap. If this were to get tested, then of course prices would need to come down quite a bit more. Who knows if this is going to happen, but I at least would consider scaling into this stock around these price levels here for a long position. Of course, if you were to fill this gap, price would need to come down all the way to 439. I'm not sure I'm going to be holding on to this for that long, but at this point here, we just broke above this all-time high. This could be a launch pad for another big move up. So I'm going to add this one also to our trade notes. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, moving on. Dollarama, we had Casey Federal Agricultural Mortgage Corporation. Let me just see, what was our trade notes here back in April 19? Yes, look at this one. I knew this stock rang a bell to me. Look, when we discussed the stock last, April 19th this year, when we were at the 169 level. So let's just see where this was. So I'm going to go to AGM. Down here. What a monster of a move this would have been. Oh, no, this was not April. Where was it? Here. Oh, this was April here. Okay, whatever. Still, also from here, a big move upwards towards the middle, in between support and resistance. And now, once again, we are down at this level. I like it. We have a liquidity capture on the last bar. We have a gap, a small gap here to be filled. I'm going to add this one as well to our notes for today. So September 27, a new note with the screenshot of the chart. I do like the setups for this week. It's interesting. Kinsale Capital Group. Okay, check it out. Okay, this is the one which has been very range bound for quite some time. Okay, and here once again, similar to USO, are all these symbols which were trending upwards for quite a bit, but now entered into this consolidation phase. It might be not such a bad idea to, with some risk limited way to do it, maybe with call options in this case, to anticipate a bounce towards the middle in between support and resistance. Especially this one here, since support and resistance are far away. It's 100 points away. It's a 20% move all the way up here. So this could be an interesting stock as well. So I'm going to add this one to our trade notes as well. Okay. All righty. There we go. Hub AX, Hub 24 Limited. Yeah, this one I'm going to skip. I have a feeling that this gap is to get closed here. Then we're going to go all the way down to 92. It's also a stock which it's an Australian stock. Yeah, I'm going to skip it. I feel that this will go a bit deeper down. So I'm not going to annotate this one. Markel Group, and then one more, and we're done. Yeah, I mean, this one, it's just hard to trade it. I would only trade this with options because I feel like, it kind of looks like a stock where we came down. Just annotate this. Where's my, yeah, here. Came down a bit. I mean, we have a bit of a, oops, second. A bit of a, come on, bit of a flagging pattern here. Now we're at the lower end. If we lose this flag, I think we may see another leg further down. I'm going to skip it too. It's also so expensive. It's hard to trade at these price levels. Ideally, I would trade this one similar to what I've done with Williams and companies with options, where prices are very condensed. Typically, options will be fairly affordable with low volatility priced and low implied volatility. But this one is not feasible with options, I believe, at this price of $1,914. Just to show you what I mean by this, just real quick, I'm going to go here to Williams and companies. This one, I trade river options actually when we had a similar situation. And we came down here, very condensed price action. You see this one here around the key support level. Implied volatility was low for the stock. Options were cheapish during this period. So to me, that is an interesting options play. We did test this level a lot. It looked a bit flagging, but nonetheless, it was worthwhile taking a shot with call options. I've did this. I sold them at this level already. It went much, much higher. But this is a good candidate for an options play because prices were not so expensive at 56 here. The other stock at 1,000 something. Stock prices are a bit too expensive for this. Let me just go back one more time to our list here. Markel, and then we have Heidelberg Materials AG. Yeah, long-term trending stock. I kind of like it. Level 4 pullback. Second, get this out. Level 4 pullback to the support level. Yeah, interesting stock. And the idea is, of course, that this one will continue its long-term uptrend after this bit of a pullback after the all-time highs here since August this year. So I'm going to add this one also to our list. And we had this one actually on our radar here on May 10th. We did put the breakout at 185. Let me just quickly see where was that. Oh, here, the 185 breakout around here. Yeah, we went up a bit. So some money to be made there. But then we came now down to this former resistance level and this support level. So two levels coinciding here, which makes it even a more valid long bounce setup. So I'm going to add this one here as well to our trade notes. Alrighty, Nicholas, any questions for these setups? I think they're interesting ones for next week for sure.
Just checking here, Daniel. Second. Do you have any rules of thumb as to how high an implied volatility to tolerate when buying call options? This is from Gerald.
What I do is I look at a platform like Thinkorswim. There will be other platforms too, which show me what was the implied volatility over the last year, or the last couple of years. Then I look at where's the average, give or take, and then I see, okay, where's the current IV, implied volatility, compared to the average, which is kind of my rule of thumb to see if it's expensive right now or rather cheap.
Thank you. Okay. And Gerald also wants to know, well, we have another question. Do you think you're going to have time for any symbol requests today?
Sure. Yeah, let's do
And
some.
all right.
Yeah.
And Gerald says, how would you search for range-bound stocks? I think we got an easy answer for that one.
Yeah. So, well, one range, well, range bound in the sense as stocks which are kind of in the middle in between support and resistance, and where perhaps the trend itself is not at a very long or high number. So Rush shows you trend duration. So if, of course, that number is really, really high, it might show this is a very directional stock. But what you can do, for example, is you can go to Liquidity IQ setup, and the first thing to do is to look for something called magnet zone. Magnet zone means a stock is in between support and resistance. Let me just pick one here, which is something Eli Lilly, that's a good one. So Eli Lilly is somewhat range bound, let's say. Okay, so what do we mean by this? So you can see it here. It is somewhat, even though it's like sloping downwards, but it's kind of ranging between this level here at 709, or maybe down here at 676, and the upper level here at 947. And this could be an idea of a range bound stock, so which I've found by using the magnet zone criteria in Liquidity IQ.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. And okay, so we got our symbol request now. So the first one is going to be, double check.
Is Amazon among those? Because that's a symbol I wanted to discuss myself before I
nope.
forget.
The first one is IREN, IREN, just so you know.
Okay, actually, hold this thought, Nicholas, because I don't want to forget about Amazon, which is something I want to add to tomorrow's or to this week's list as well. I forgot about that. Let me just have a quick look at this. I stumbled over it accidentally when I did my webinar with the German audience. So Amazon technically is in a magnet zone. You can see it here. It's bullish for 537 trading days. It's somewhere in the magnet zone, but it's also level 4 pullback. It did pull back off this off the highs right now because of a healthy pullback. You can see it here on Trend Radar. It is down to level 4. And we are near. It doesn't qualify yet. We're not near enough. We are near the support level here. I think this can be a really interesting opportunity to enter or scale into a long position on Amazon. It's a nice opportunity to get into this Max 7 stock at a discount right now after the all-time highs here. So I do like it, and I will add Amazon to our watch list too. Looking for potentially maybe another little bit of a pullback on Monday or Tuesday, and then scale into a long position here in Amazon. So I forgot to mention this when I stumbled over Amazon. Yeah, a bit earlier today. Okay, what's the first symbol, Nicholas? Symbol request.
IREN, IREN.
IREN. All right. Iron Limited, a long break 23. So breaking above, broke above resistance 23 bars ago. Let's have a look here. Yeah, right here, huge move up. Now a bit of a pullback, level 1 pullback on Trend Radar. Yeah, so these are the trades, of course, they're awesome. If you are in this stock since this breakout, congratulations, you did everything right. Entering right now into it, it's a bit too expensive for me. But this is my trading style. I want to wait until I see at least 3 levels on Trend Radar. The price maybe come down to this level here and then potentially enter into this long trade. Because up here in the ozone layer, it is just expensive. Yeah. All right. What else do we have?
And the next one is SOFI, SOFI.
Yeah.
SOFI Technology, I think.
SOFI. Okay. Yeah, they are also developing nicely. 248 days, trading days bullish. We broke above resistance. You can see it here on September 9. A nice move upwards. Now a bit of a pullback. Also here, I personally, but again, I just don't like to chase and enter at expensive levels. Oftentimes this is not the best idea. I want to wait till prices come down here. Entry level here and then consider a long entry. Yeah, that to me would be my play because I do think it might come down a bit further. Zone break retrace in progress, maybe. And if that's in progress, we're going to come down all the way to the 25.60 level.
Daniel, the next one is going to be SLGN.
SLGN.
Actually, let me
Silgan
just,
Holdings.
oh, Daniel, sorry, before we go there, go to THO. I missed this one.
That's some Lenny, right?
Yeah.
THO. Yeah, we don't have this one in the dashboard.
It's
I'm gonna
there.
go
It's
to
right there. It's the third one.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Right there. Yeah.
Thor Industries. Is this one from Lenny? Yeah, it was. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what do we see here? So bearish for 139 trading days, currently at a key resistance level, short bounce. So what do we see here? Okay, let's have a look. Where do we come from? I come from higher price levels here. Price, just go a little bit further back to see what's the context of the stock. Yeah, it's a very wavy stock. It's something I personally it's not my favorite setup to trade because it's, in fact, look at the bigger thing here after this kind of in this big range here in between this level here and this down level here. And right now at a key resistance level. Would I go long right here? Maybe not. I would go against this trend here. If we go above it, maybe there's more room all the way to 128. But to me, it looked kind of swingy, this stock. And just from the feel of it, it feels like swingy, and there's not a clear directional play that comes to my mind here. So I personally would be careful with this setup. In either direction, it's not clear to what may happen. So a long setup right now, maybe not good. We are right at the resistance in this zone here. A short setup, maybe, but we came all the way up here. We did actually break this resistance level. So I kind of would the market let decide what's going to go on here. If we bounce at this level to lower prices, maybe shorting it for another attempt to towards 63 could be the play at hand, but it's a bit hard to read.
Well, okay. Thank you, Daniel. So now the next one's going to be SLGN.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this one. We just had this one. Silgan Holdings. Okay. Bearish for 30 trading days. I see a big glaring gap coming up there. Let's have a look. What a huge gap that was. Where did this one come from? Let's have a quick look what the context of this one is. Yeah, huge moves. I mean, it is a bit zoomed in here, so that's why these moves seem so big. But yeah, well, right at this key support level. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, right here, a bit of a bounce on Friday, but we are bearish. Yeah, I'm torn between this one. I mean, if you want to speculate, maybe if options are cheap, anticipate a bounce at this level, perhaps in an ideal case, closing this gap here, which would be amazing. But actually entering outright into this stock with a long position is probably not my play. I would do here.
Oh, the next one we got, Daniel, Walmart.
Yeah. All right. Oh, interesting one. So,
And Moshe, yeah, the levels are always going to be different because there's different time frames available for us to check on Thinkorswim than there is on this dashboard or on TradingView. So the levels are calculated differently on the dashboard, on TradingView, and MotiveWave versus Thinkorswim, so they won't be the exact same.
but oftentimes they're kind of similar. So we look at Thinkorswim every once in a while, and every time I do, especially for option pricing and how big implied volatility is, that's one of the tools I use for that. I see levels very similar to what the dashboard does. There may be some differences here and there, but oftentimes they're pretty much the same. Yeah, but yeah, you're right, Niklas. Of course, due to price differences, not due to time frame differences, there will be some discrepancy, so to say. Yeah, Walmart is interesting. It's just it's bullish for quite some time. Entering now long would not be my cup of tea either because we're right at this resistance level. I may see a bounce of it. If we break above it, if we break above 106, that could be an interesting zone break setup. Anticipating this breakout move will continue. We're going to see new all-time highs in Walmart. But right now, be careful with that. Okay. Then we have Morgan Stanley, I see there, MS. Long break 26. So since 26 trading days, we are above our resistance level, a broken resistance level. Here we had the break 26 bars ago. Nice move upwards. And of course, now we are extended. Here I would wait for a pullback too. Maybe a level 3 pullback for Morgan Stanley, and then consider a long entry. You see where we come from. Yeah, we're bullish. Overall, yeah, I would wait for a bit of a pullback here.
Definitely, maybe a nice long break retrace. And then the last one we have, Intel. And oh yeah, sorry, Daniel, I messed that up. You were right. You kept asking, was that Lenny's symbol? His question was about the short-term versus long-term trading on it. And he
Oh,
says,
on TOH.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's a stock I really can't have a clear read on it. Lanny, it's hard to do because it's so swingy. So I personally just stay away from these ones. If there's no clear read, and there's so many different stocks you can trade, I would go to the next one. So I don't have a clear opinion on this one. It's hard to say. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have?
Intel.
Intel, yes. NTC. I kind of like Intel. I think it's too big to fail because I liked it much more down here at this huge, huge support level. Look at the support line here. It was established back in September 2024, around 18, held throughout, never went below it. Maybe that's the bottom line for Intel after, of course, this huge bearish trend it's been into. It bounced off nicely because after the news from, I believe, NVIDIA is doing some work together with Intel. Did I get this right? Maybe I'm mixing it up. We gapped up a few times. I think some government contracts are also rolling in for Intel. So to me, it's kind of a company which is too big to fail. And as such, this could have been a nice bottom line. But of course, now we're far away. And I see a couple of gaps here forming. So entering now at this level into Intel, it feels like it's kind of too late now. The opportunity was a bit lower before this happened. So yeah, a bit too extended now. And some gaps to the downside to be filled. Right?
Check and Daniel, see, did we miss one?
I see MU, eBay, and MP. That's these last three ones.
Yeah, Micron and
That's a
eBay.
Micron. Okay. Micron. There we go. Short bounce to, okay, here we are at a key resistance level. I can see it here. Let's have a quick look. What's going on here? Yeah. Interesting stock. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, at this resistance level, it looks like a zone break retrace setup to me. We made all-time highs, came up, now down to this resistance level. A couple of gaps below here. It's not the clearest uptrend. This may just be a quick move to all-time highs. Lots of people will be booking profits now that's been down so far. So this pullback could as well be a bit deeper towards the 129 level. Just be careful of this. Entering now, maybe a bit too early. I have a feeling that this may come down a bit further down.
It's Marathon Petroleum? No, MP. Actually, before that, it's eBay. Caesar.
All right. Level 3 pullback on uptrending for 173 trading days. Huge gap here, glaring gap on eBay here after this break, maybe because of earnings. Down here now at the support level. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's just this gap is a bit scary. So if this gap was to be tested, perhaps it would go down all the way to the 78 level. But yeah, it looks like a nice trend nonetheless, especially after this pullback. So maybe scaling into the position here could be the right play because eBay seems to be in a nice established uptrend. Absolutely.
And the next last one, Daniel, is MP.
Yeah, we need to cap it off. I have to move on. And Lenny, maybe send me an email. I'm not exactly sure what you're looking for. And it's a bit hard to go through some of the more complex questions during a webinar. MP
Daniel,
materials.
the name of this is MP Materials. MP space Materials.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yeah, we just bounced off resistance here. I think we discussed this one also. It feels to me at least at some point we bounced at this resistance level, came down a little bit. Now we are approaching this former resistance level here at 60. I think, yeah, this one could potentially go down to this level, and this could be a nice zone break retrace setup for long, but also there's two gaps here. But yeah, definitely I would wait for maybe a bit of a move towards down towards like 60 and then potentially enter into a long trade. And I see PDD for the last one here from Baba PDD Holdings. Oh, at a key resistance level for 7 trading days. You can see it here. Short bounce 7. Went to bullish. Let's have a look here. All right. Oh, this is all now. Oh, yeah, quite rangy, huh? It's one of these stocks which are quite rangy right now. But yeah, if you think that, hey, this range bound pattern was going to continue, maybe shorting it here anticipating a move down towards the middle in between support and resistance might not be the worst idea, but of course I would only do this with options, nothing outright, because you may go all the way up here or even further for this range bound moves. We're still kind of in the middle of this bigger range. So, as you know me, I like to trade the extremes, like down here. These are the bounces I typically look for. We are at the outer extreme of a trading range. All right. Perfect. Okay, wow. That was a nice symbol, a quick fire session here. Thank you guys so much for sharing these symbols or requesting these symbols. And you can see hopefully how easy it is to analyze these symbols, especially if there's a very clear pattern with our Liquidity View dashboard and with our indicators on the dashboard, which are Liquidity IQ, MA Rush, and Trend Radar down here. So let me quickly go back to my slides. Oops, some questions here. Yeah, one last thing. If you are interested in trying out our great Liquidity View dashboard, we give you a full week of a free trial at tradingindicators.com/view. And Niklas, please also put this link into the chat box, please. So for a 7-day free trial of the dashboard. And then if you want to stay along, we have interesting monthly and yearly offers. Perfect. So like tradingindicators.com/view, and that link is in the chat as well. And of course, you can always reach out to us via our homepage, tradingindicators.com. Click on support and on contact and put your question directly into the contact form, and it will go straight to my inbox, so to our inbox, and we're going to answer every single question personally. All right. So with this, guys, I wish you all a great weekend. I hope you relax a little bit, recover some energy, and then be ready for the next exciting trading week ahead. And that's it for me. And then of course, a quick reminder that our next Lunch and Learn session is not going to be on Tuesday, as it normally is. It's going to be on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And the reminder for this will be sent out as well shortly. So this Monday at 11 a.m. for our next Lunch and Learn session. And the reason for this is because we have a scheduling conflict. In fact, it's going to stay like this for a couple of weeks now before we will revert back to our usual Tuesday spot. Perfect. All right, guys. So Apto says thank you. Andrea says thank you. Caesar says thank you. Great. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you liked it. And have a nice weekend. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Niklas. Bye-bye.